Board of Governors of the Jewish Agency for Israel, which consists of members from all 5 continents, are in Israel these days for their management meetings, got a unique opportunity to hear firsthand from the American ambassador to Israel, the former Israeli ambassador to Washington, and the former Israeli ambassador to the United Nations about what is going on behind closed doors at the Israeli-Palestinian Peace Negotiations. And Jane Wan got an exclusive invite to participate in this closed-door event. As everyone keeps talking about Secretary of State John Kerry's commitment for the peace in the Middle East, the real force behind those talks is the American ambassador in Israel, Dan Shapiro, who has worked tirelessly for the past 3 years to get the sides to talk to each other and seems to never give up hope, even in the gravest moments.
It's true the United States has always taken the position, or certainly for many years, and it's always been President Obama's view, and he says it in every speech, that Israel is a Jewish state, deserves to be recognized as such. And I think at the end of this process, that's what we're looking for, is that kind of mutual recognition. We are working very closely with both sides to try to put in place the elements of a framework that will permit continued negotiations toward a final status agreement. It's not easy. Every word of a document like that is sensitive. It has to address all the core issues. But I think the conversations have been productive. They've been professional. Both sides are committed to trying to make this effort succeed, and we'll hopefully be able to present the framework before the end of the 9 months.
The former Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, Dan Gillerman, has been involved with the negotiations for years. He too understands that if something dramatic won't happen soon, the escalation that might follow will be something our grandchildren will still have to endure.
We're probably as close as we ever were. A, because we have a very committed American Secretary of State who wants this passionately and is very committed to it. We have, I believe, an Israeli Prime Minister who has reached a decision that he wants to make peace. And we have an Arab and Muslim world which I think would support a Palestinian leader who would go for it precisely because of the dangers and the threats which it is facing from the extremists. Well, I think the one most important element is the element of trust. And I think that what I would say to both sides is, trust each other, believe that it is important for both your people. There are dangers, there are very great risks to be taken, but they are the risks of war, of another intifada or another war, is far greater, and therefore, for the sake of our children and grandchildren, just do it.
Palestinians will not be able.
Michael Oren has returned to Israel in the last few months after finishing his post as the Israeli ambassador to Washington. Of all the speakers at the symposium, he was the one who dared to say things in the most direct way, with no ifs and buts.
Well, I don't think everything's exactly working on the ground. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find Palestinians who are satisfied with the status quo. I, as an Israeli, am not satisfied with the status quo. I can't go and take a picnic in the West Bank tomorrow. So that's not a normal situation. I can't even visit. It's very difficult for me to even visit as a tourist there with a passport. So if our goal is to create two states that are permanent and legitimate and mutually recognized, then we're not there yet, and we've got quite a way to go.
Although when the symposium was originally incepted, it was supposed to outline the progress in the peace negotiations. However, what we heard here tonight didn't end up being so positive. For Jane Wan, I'm Ron Jacobson at the David Intercontinental Hotel in Tel Aviv.